Today's ingathering service and water ceremony is the annual service that marks our return to this community, many of us after being far-flung over the summer. Each time we return, we're a little different, and yet together with others, we remain part of this community. Someone who's here for the first time brings their experience and personality into this community. We're all born on the waters of life, the waters of change. Today, each of us will have the opportunity to pour water into a common vessel to symbolize the deepening and growth that we've experienced as we've been born on those waters. Joyous celebration, painful struggle, and growth, insight, and transformation. There are 3 stations, 2 in the back and 1 in the front. If you've brought your own water to pour it. If not, there's water in the pitcher to pour as a symbol of your journey on the waters of life. At the end of October, during our service in remembrance of loved ones who have passed away, we'll use the mingled waters to pour out our love and sorrow onto the soil of the memorial garden. Everyone here this morning should have a fish sticky note. Do you have a note to a sticky fish? Raise your hand if you do. Great, that looks like most people. Now, if you don't, raise your hand so that the ushers can come around and give you a fish. If you need a fish, wave your hand. All right. Now, why do you have a sticky fish? In a moment, Amy is going to play our centering music. While she is playing, please jot down on your fish the values that you believe are at the heart of this community. What is the heart of the church? Write in a few words what you think the values are at the heart of First Unitarian. And if you're a first-time visitor, what have you noticed already? Write it on the fish. When you're done, this all happens during the centering music, pass the fish to the center aisle, and the ushers will collect them as the music ends. And ushers are going to bring those up to the front so that the 3 of us can read to you during the service some of the values that you've written down that you believe are at the heart of this church. And you see this word cloud up here, where the largest word is the word that was written down the most times? This was created from the sticky fish we collected a year ago. The question then was, what gifts do you bring to First Unitarian? And you notice that love is at the center. And this year, the question is, what values are at the heart of the church? And we'll be talking about the word cloud that what you write creates in the September 23rd service. Now let's center ourselves and reflect on the values at the heart of this church. May the sound and vibration of this bell and the beautiful music help in our reflection as we cross the threshold into a deeper sense of the sanctuary of this community. Crossing a creek requires 3 things: a certain serenity of mind, bare feet, and a sure trust that the snake we know slides silently underwater just beyond our vision will choose to ignore the flesh that cuts through its territory, and we will pass through. We will pass through. All crossings are hard, whether creeks, mountains, or into other lives, and we must always believe in the snakes at our feet, and we must practice believing we will come through. Rivers bring life to many different places. Farmers depend on them, so do animals, so do people. Rivers can be deep and powerful. They can be slow and winding. They can be swift and rocky. A river can be challenging to get across. Think about your summer. Did any of you do any growing or learning, something that challenged your serenity of mind? Did your experiences carry you along to a different place? Did you find any snakes at your feet? Let's take a moment now in silence to reflect on personal growth and spiritual deepening that comes from being born along the river. The bell will usher us into and out of this silent reflection. And now we'll share with you some of the values that you've written on the sticky fish, values that you believe are at the center, at the heart of this church. Love, gratitude, understanding, volunteering.
Acceptance, peace, love, democracy, women.
Compassion, caring, laughter, joy, togetherness.
Acceptance, inclusiveness, peace, love.
Privilege, materialism, restraint, mercy, tolerance.
Creativity, respect, kindness, honesty, openness.
Justice, inclusion, acceptance, thinking.
Community, respect for all, service to others.
Curiosity,
Justice, kindness, equality, love, and acceptance. And now, as we continue on with our service, when we finish reading, the notes we finish reading will be placed on the river display with the other fish, and eventually all of the fish will be on the display. As the choir sings, "I am the river," those of you who have felt your soul come through a difficult crossing may walk silently to the water station and pour some water into the bowl. Maybe you felt carried along by the river, but with a deepening of your spirit. Pour some water into the bowl. If you prefer, you can signal to an usher who will bring some river water to your seat so that you can pour while remaining seated. Please walk quietly and pour reverently.
A moment of stillness amidst the chaos of everyday living. A time to pause, to honor, and to notice how we're feeling. This rare stillness invites the fullness of who we are. To be still is to know where we've come from, to know the blessings of hope, as well as the sadness of grief. Let us take a moment to sit and just be. Breathing in this moment of of stillness. We hold in our hearts today all who are grieving the loss of someone they love. We hold in our hearts all who are sick and are in need of healing. We hold in our hearts those who provide care for loved ones who need it. As we lay our sorrows down by the still pools, we also lift up our hopes. Hopes dreamed about in moments of stillness. Hopes that come from making space in our lives to dare to imagine. In this house of hope and grief and love, we pause for a moment for quiet reflection together beside the still pool of this community. Worship leaders, come join me as we share more of the values of the people and what they wrote on their fishy sticky notes. Thank you. Community, positive transformation.
Inclusivity, diversity, peace, justice, love.
Religious education, social justice in the community, music.
Like-minded, peace-seeking people.
Love and service.
Love for all life, respect for all lives, and something important that I can't quite make out.
Respect and compassion.
Individual beliefs and shared values.
Caring community, love.
Oh boy, this one has a lot on it. Service in church in larger area. Fun. Making friends and connections. Swimming upstream. Teaching and learning our youth and adults. Questions and more questions. Soul matters and hugs.
I love that one. Love and acceptance and interest in social justice.
Reverence, responsibility, hope.
Acceptance and love.
Caring and peace.
Joy, compassion, sanctuary, hope.
Introspection, reflection, parental support, and charity toward others.
Value of all humans, love and justice for all.
Respect and acceptance of all. Social justice participation.
Thank you. In a moment, Amy's going to play By the Waters of Babylon, and we'll have a second pouring of the waters, and we'll also light the 3 candles, one for the sharing of joys and sorrows, and one for the names we've spoken, and one for the longing that remains unspoken. Now, those of you who have felt the stillness of grief or the stillness of hope this summer, please walk silently to one of our 3 watering stations and pour some water into the bowl. Share your grief with this community. Share your hope with this community. And like before, if you prefer, signal an usher who will bring still waters to your seat so you can pour water while remaining seated. Please walk quietly and pour reverently.
Oceans, all life emerged from the ocean. The ocean's waves come crashing onto the shore, and then the tide pulls the water out again in a steady rhythm. Oceans are broad and deep. In many places, we can't see the bottom. Huge creatures live in the ocean, whales and eels and strange-looking fish. The sea can be placid and calm, or rough and terrifying. At the ocean's edge, the waves crash and pound in turbulent rhythm. Life emerged from the ocean. Its salt is in our blood. It's in our tears. This summer, for some of us, may have been rough or terrifying or simply salty with tears. Water in all its many forms may drench us in storms, threaten us with floods, frighten us with the currents and strong tides that can carry us away. Beautiful as it is, life has its challenges that sometimes sweep us away. Let's take a moment now to think quietly about life's challenges, its turbulence, its floods, its tears. The 3 bowls in the 3 water stations are now filled with water, symbolizing 3 sources for the water that brings us life. And they also symbolize 3 different types of personal and emotional experiences that life brings to us. Water. It's a simple substance that today represents the complexity and depth of our lives and of our life together as a faith community. In humility and gratitude, let us acknowledge the power and splendor of water. And now Tracy and Katie are bringing forward water that everyone has shared from the rivers, pools, and oceans, from the 2 vessels in the back, and then from this one in the front. And in a moment, we'll mingle these waters. Here. Thank you. These mingled waters remind us that we're connected to each other by love and need and hope. The safety and well-being of this community and of the larger world depend on the goodwill and dedicated efforts of each one of us. For this water, for all sources of water, for all who poured, and for those who join visibly and invisibly in our act of community this morning, may we be aware and may we be grateful. Blessed be.